Beneath the humid Spanish moss-draped canopy of Louisiana, where the bayou breathes secrets into the thick night air, there exists a tale whispered with a shiver, a legend both haunting and tragically beautiful. It is the story of the Ghost Bride of New Orleans, a spectral figure said to drift along desolate highways, forever searching, forever waiting. But who is she? What dark fate binds her to these forgotten roads? And why, even now, do drivers across the swamplands report encounters that defy rational explanation? Tonight, we embark on an investigative journey into the heart of this mystery, unwrapping layers of folklore, fear, and fleeting shadows. Imagine the inky blackness of a Louisiana midnight, a ribbon of asphalt cutting through vast, silent wetlands. The air is heavy, perfumed with the scent of cypress and decay. A lone car cruises, its headlights piercing the oppressive dark. Suddenly, a figure emerges from the roadside mist. A woman, clad in a tattered ivory gown, her face obscured, her hand raised in a plea for help. This chilling tableau is not a scene from a Gothic novel. It is the recurring nightmare for many who have traversed the haunted highways of Louisiana. A nocturnal encounter with the legendary Ghost Bride. Is she a figment of overactive imaginations, fueled by the region's potent mystique, or does a genuine, sorrowful spirit truly roam these ancient byways? The evidence, as you will discover, is far more unsettling than mere conjecture. Our exploration begins not with sensationalism, but with the quiet hum of folklore, an undercurrent that has flowed through New Orleans for centuries. This city, a crucible of cultures, voodoo, and forgotten histories, is fertile ground for such tales. The Ghost Bride, however, stands apart. Her narrative is not confined to crumbling mansions or shadowed cemeteries. Her domain is the open road, a stark contrast to the closed, intimate spaces usually associated with spectral activity. This shift from static haunting to mobile apparition introduces a unique element of dread, making her a truly terrifying highway phenomenon. What makes her story resonate so deeply, causing even the most hardened skeptics to pause? The answer lies in the deeply human fear of the unexpected, the sudden intrusion of the supernatural into the mundane rhythm of everyday life. Consider the accounts. They often share uncanny similarities, weaving a tapestry of terror that transcends individual bias. Take, for instance, the testimony of a truck driver, an individual accustomed to long, lonely nights on the road, who preferred to remain anonymous. He described a late-night run through a particularly remote stretch of highway just outside Slidell. The hour was past 3 a.m., the world silent save for the roar of his engine. He saw her, he recounts, a flash of white by the roadside. Not a hitchhiker, but something far more ethereal. As he slowed, perplexed, the figure seemed to shimmer, her form indistinct, yet undeniably female, undeniably in a wedding dress. He claimed her hand reached out, not quite touching his window, but seeming to pass through the very air as if it were water, leaving a profound chill that pierced the warmth of his cab. Before he could fully process the sight, she was gone, dissolving into the impenetrable darkness, leaving only a lingering scent of jasmine and something indescribably sorrowful. Such experiences defy simple psychological explanations. The consistency across varied accounts, from different individuals in different vehicles, often years apart, suggests something more than mass hysteria or shared delusion. These are not people seeking attention. Many speak of their encounters with a quiet, almost reluctant reverence, as if sharing a sacred, terrifying secret. The fear is palpable in their voices, a fear born not of a sudden scare, but of a deep, existential unease with the boundaries between life and death. The question then becomes, what force could be so powerful, so persistent, as to manifest in such a distinct, recurring manner. To truly understand the ghost bride, we must delve into the possible origins of this harrowing legend. Like many strong urban myths, her tale is often a blend of historical tragedy and collective imagination. One prevalent theory points to a catastrophic event, an unresolved injustice that anchors a restless spirit to this mortal plane. Could she be a young woman, perhaps on her way to her own wedding, who met a tragic end on these very roads? The imagery of a bride, a symbol of hope, love, and a future abruptly severed, lends a potent emotional weight to her spectral presence. This narrative evokes profound empathy, making her not just a figure of fear, but one of profound pathos. To truly understand the ghost bride, we must delve into the possible origins of this harrowing legend. Like many strong urban myths, her tale is often a blend of historical tragedy and collective imagination. One prevalent theory points to a catastrophic event, an unresolved injustice that anchors a restless spirit to this mortal plane. Could she be a young woman, perhaps on her way to her own wedding, who met a tragic end on these very roads? The imagery of a bride, a symbol of hope, love, and a future abruptly severed, lends a potent emotional weight to her spectral presence. This narrative evokes profound empathy, making her not just a figure of fear, but one of profound pathos. One particularly compelling, albeit unverified, narrative speaks of a young woman named Elodie, set to marry her beloved in the late 1920s. On what should have been the happiest day of her life, a devastating car accident occurred on a narrow, fog-shrouded stretch of road near the Honey Island swamp. Elodie, still in her pristine wedding gown, was reportedly killed instantly, her fiancé gravely injured but surviving. The story goes that her body was never properly recovered from the wreckage, or perhaps, in the confusion and grief, her spirit simply refused to move on, forever bound to the spot where her dreams shattered. This tragic background, if true, provides a poignant, albeit terrifying, explanation for her continued appearance, fueled by an eternal sorrow and a desperate longing for what was lost. The beauty of the urban legend lies in its plasticity, its ability to adapt and evolve, yet retain its core, chilling essence. While direct historical proof of Elodie's accident remains elusive, the power of her story lies not in its factual accuracy, but in its emotional truth, as perceived by those who encounter the legend. It taps into our deepest fears, sudden loss, unfulfilled love, and the lingering presence of those who depart too soon. The environment itself, the brooding, ancient landscape of the Louisiana bayou, only amplifies the legend's potency. The swamps, teeming with life and death, are natural custodians of secrets and the ideal stage for such a mournful specter. Yet, beyond the heart-wrenching narratives, there are those who offer more pragmatic, albeit less dramatic, explanations. The human mind, especially when driven by fatigue and the isolating monotony of long drives, is highly susceptible to suggestion and pareidolia, the tendency to perceive meaningful patterns in random stimuli. A discarded piece of litter, a trick of light and shadow, combined with the prevalent local folklore, could easily be interpreted as a ghostly apparition. The chilling accounts could be the collective unconscious at play, a vivid dream shared by thousands. But then, how does one account for the specific details, the consistent imagery of a bride in white, her silent plea, the inexplicable cold? This is where the rational falters and the unexplained takes hold. The journey to understand the ghost bride is not merely about confirming or debunking a supernatural phenomenon. It is about exploring the intricate tapestry of human belief, fear, and storytelling. It reflects our innate desire to seek meaning in the unknown, to imbue the world around us with narratives that both terrify and mesmerize. Each reported sighting, each whispered anecdote, adds another thread to this intricate loom, deepening the mystery rather than unraveling it. The very act of investigating, of confronting these tales, brings us closer to the psychological core of what it means to be human in the face of the inexplicable. Let's return to the accounts, to the visceral human experiences that fuel this legend. Consider the story of a young couple driving back home to New Orleans after a late-night concert. The wife, skeptical and practical, initially dismissed her husband's sudden deceleration and panicked expression. He pointed, his hand trembling, towards the roadside. There, under the pale glow of the moon, stood a figure, white, luminescent, and unmistakably female. The wife, eyes wide with a terror she could not explain, saw it too. She described not a solid form, but a shimmering haze, like heat rising from asphalt, yet undeniably taking the shape of a woman in a long dress. Her fear was not derived from a sudden shock, but from the slow, creeping realization that what she was witnessing simply could not be. The encounter passed quickly, the figure fading like smoke, but the imprint it left was indelible. They drove the rest of the way in horrified silence, forever changed by the fleeting glimpse of sorrow on the road. What is it about the figure of a bride that makes her such a potent and terrifying apparition? A wedding dress symbolizes purity, new beginnings, a future brimming with promise. To see this symbol of joy twisted into an emblem of tragic loss and eternal haunting creates a powerful dissonance, a psychological shockwave that resonates deep within us. It's a violation of expectations, a stark reminder of life's fragility and the brutal finality of unforeseen tragedy. This emotional anchoring, this disruption of expected happiness, gives the ghost bride her enduring power, turning her from a mere spooky story into a deeply unsettling cultural artifact. And what of the timing? Why midnight? The witching hour, that liminal space between one day and the next, has long been associated with supernatural phenomena. It is when the veil between worlds is said to be thinnest, when the rational mind is more susceptible to fear and doubt. The loneliness of the road at this hour, the absence of other cars, the profound silence broken only by the wind and the whisper of the bayou, creates an isolated stage perfectly suited for such an ethereal drama. It is a time when our defenses are lowered, when the mundane gives way to the menacing. The scientific community, of course, would approach this phenomenon with a healthy dose of skepticism. The effects of infrasound, low-frequency vibrations undetectable to the human ear, have been shown to induce feelings of unease, dread, and even visual hallucinations in individuals. Could the specific atmospheric conditions of the bayou, the vibrations from distant traffic, or even natural phenomena like geological activity, be contributing to these widespread perceptions? It is a logical avenue of inquiry, yet it struggles to fully explain the consistent narrative elements. The specific appearance, the outstretched hand, the overwhelming sense of sorrow. The human element, the shared story, remains central to its mystery. As we delve deeper into the psychological landscape of these encounters, it becomes clear that the fear is not simply of a ghost, but of what the ghost represents: unresolved issues, sudden loss, and the horrifying possibility that death is not always a peaceful transition. The Ghost Bride of New Orleans acts as a mirror, reflecting our own anxieties about the unknown and the fragile nature of existence. Her story taps into a primal human terror, the dread of being alone in the vast, uncaring dark, encountering something that defies definition, something that comes from beyond the living. Consider the notion of residual haunting. This theory suggests that particularly traumatic events can leave an energetic imprint on a location, like a recording playing on an endless loop. If a tragic accident did befall a bride on these roads, Could her final moments of terror and despair be etched into the very fabric of the environment, occasionally replaying for unwitting travelers? This theory leans into the idea that ghosts are not necessarily conscious entities, but rather echoes of past suffering, forever bound to their moment of tragedy. The ghost bride, in this context, becomes a tragic, repetitive echo of a love lost too soon. The allure of such mysteries extends far beyond simple entertainment. It speaks to a profound human need to connect with the transcendent, to explore the boundaries of our understanding, and to confront the terrifying possibilities that lie beyond the mundane. Urban legends like the Ghost Bride provide a safe cultural space to explore these anxieties, to share fears, and to collectively grapple with the inexplicable. They remind us that even in our modern, rational world, ancient fears and enigmatic forces still hold sway over the human imagination. But what if there is more to it? What if the spectral encounter serves as a kind of warning, a supernatural omen? Some folklorists suggest that certain apparitions are not merely remnants of the past, but active agents of the supernatural, attempting to convey a message or prevent future tragedies. Could the Ghost Bride, in her silent, sorrowful plea, be trying to avert a similar disaster, to warn travelers of the perils of the road, or perhaps even to guide them away from an unseen danger? This interpretation imbues her with an ethereal purpose, turning her from a mere specter into a tragic guardian. The landscape of Louisiana itself plays a crucial, undeniable role in solidifying this legend. The bayous, with their ancient trees draped in Spanish moss, their murky waters hiding untold creatures, and their profound silence, create an atmosphere of primal mystery. It is a land where the veil between worlds seems perpetually thin, where the echoes of history are palpable in the humid air. For centuries, this region has been a hotbed of voodoo practices, Creole mysticism, and a deep reverence for ancestral spirits. The Ghost Bride is not an anomaly in this context. She is a fitting, albeit terrifying, addition to a rich tapestry of supernatural lore. The impact of such a legend is not confined to late-night campfire stories. It seeps into the collective consciousness, influencing local culture, art, and even tourism. Visitors flock to New Orleans hoping to catch a glimpse of its haunted past, to feel the chill of its spectral residents. The Ghost Bride contributes to this mystique, offering a thrilling, terrifying narrative that extends beyond the city limits into the vast, silent wilderness of the surrounding swamplands. She is a reminder that Louisiana's history is not just in its vibrant celebrations, but also in its profound sorrows and enduring mysteries. As we conclude our investigation into the spectral phenomena of the Ghost Bride, we are left not with definitive answers, but with a deeper appreciation for the power of storytelling and the enduring enigma of the human experience. Whether she is the lingering echo of a tragic past, a collective psychological manifestation, or a genuine supernatural entity, her presence on the highways of Louisiana continues to captivate and terrify. Her story serves as a potent reminder that some mysteries refuse to be neatly categorized, some sorrows refuse to fade, and some figures draped in white and shrouded in mist will forever roam the edges of our understanding, beckoning us into the chilling unknown. The roads of Louisiana, especially under the shroud of midnight, continue to hold their breath, waiting for the silent reappearance of that sorrowful figure. Perhaps, on your next journey through those ancient lands, you might momentarily glimpse a flicker of white in your peripheral vision, a silent, pleading hand from the roadside mist. Will you dismiss it as illusion, or will you feel the cold grasp of the inexplicable? The Ghost Bride of New Orleans reminds us that some journeys lead not just to a destination, but into the very heart of fear and wonder. The mystery endures, and perhaps that is precisely how it is meant to be. If this journey into the unknown has sparked your own curiosity, Remember to share your thoughts, your theories, and perhaps even your own chilling encounters in the comments below. Until next time, stay vigilant, and remember, some legends are far more real than we dare to imagine.